Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all had. I, After such an engaging morning session from the insightful continuation of the Dr. Gnanyala's workshop to the truly inspiring guest lecture by Mrs. Janadi ma'am from IBM Quantum, I'm sure we all have re-energized and ready to dive into the next phase of today's learning journey. As we move into the post-lunch session, it's time to welcome yet another distinguished personality to the stage. A visionary whose work has significantly contributed to the advancement of India's defense and naval technology. We are deeply honored to have with us Dr. V. Bhujanga Rao, sir, former Director General of the Naval Science and Technological Laboratory, Visakhapatnam. Dr. Rao is an eminent scientist, a remarkable leader, and a driving force behind numerous innovations in defense research and maritime systems. His decades of experience and dedication have not only strengthened our nation's defense capabilities, but have also inspired countless young minds to pursue excellence in science and technology. Even today, Dr. Bhujanga Rao sir continues to inspire, guide, and mentor. As the chairman of the KIMS Foundation and Research Center, and as an ISRO chair professor at the National Institute of Advanced Studies, he shares his wisdom, his vision, and his unwavering belief in the power of knowledge. And today, he joins us to share his invaluable insights, an opportunity that truly bridges the world of scientific innovation with national service. A hearty welcome to you on behalf of all of us and the institution, sir. And we would like to present a small video, if you permit us to. Play the AV, please. The world of science and innovation. There are those whose vision transcends the ordinary, whose dedication shapes the extraordinary. Today, we celebrate one such luminary, Dr. V. Bhujanga Rao, a scientist, a leader, and an architect of India's naval technological prowess. Dr. V. Bhujanga Rao's journey began over 4 decades ago. In 1973, he embarked on a mission with the Defense Research and Development Organization, a mission that would span more than 42 years, leaving an indelible mark on India's defense technology landscape. As the director for the Naval Science and Technological Laboratory, NSTL in Visakhapatnam, Dr. Rao led some of the most critical projects in India's naval defense. Under his leadership, advanced underwater weapon systems, stealth technologies, and life saving naval innovations were conceived, tested, and deployed. He played a pivotal role in the development of infrared signature suppression device, an innovation now fitted on over 48 Indian Navy ships, protecting them from infrared guided missile attacks, a testament to his commitment to national security and scientific excellence. Dr. Rao's contributions earned him the prestigious National Design Award, the DRDO Agni Award, and the Stanley Early's Gold Medal. But for him, recognition was never the goal. Service, innovation, and nurturing future minds were the true rewards. Dr. Rao is not only a leader in the laboratory, but also a beacon in academia. Holding dual PhD degrees alongside honorary DSc honors from three universities, he has dedicated himself to nurturing knowledge, inspiring generations of engineers and scientists. A fellow of the Indian National Academy of Engineering, the Indian National Science Academy, and the Andhra Pradesh Academy of Sciences, his scholarly contributions are as vast as his practical innovations. Innovation for Dr. Rao extends beyond defense. In 2003, he founded the Condition Monitoring Society of India, a platform to promote cutting edge industrial practices, Industry 4.0, and technological foresight, shaping a culture of excellence across sectors. Even today, Dr. Bhujanga Rao continues to inspire, guide, and mentor. As the chairman of the CARES Foundation and Research Center, and as an ISRO chair professor at the National Institute of Advanced Studies, he shares his wisdom, his vision, and his unwavering belief in the power of knowledge. He is a reminder that true leadership is not in authority, but in the lives you touch, the minds you enlighten, and the legacy you leave. Dr. V. Bhujanga Rao's journey is not just a story of awards and accolades, but a story of relentless curiosity, tireless innovation, and service to the nation. A journey that continues to inspire, to challenge, and to illuminate the path for future scientists and innovators. Today, as he visits Rajiv Gandhi University of Knowledge Technology, Srikakulam, we honor not just the scientist, but the mentor, the visionary, and the guiding light, Dr. V. Bhujanga. May his story ignite the spark of curiosity and the flame of excellence in each one of us. Thank you, Dr. Rao, for a life dedicated to science, service, and the spirit of discovery. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's all put our hands together and extend a very warm and respectful welcome to Dr. V. Bhujanga Rao, sir. We are truly privileged to have you with us today, sir.
Can address one here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right. Oh, thank you. Thank you. A very good afternoon to all of you. Uh, to begin with, I must first thank your director, Professor Balaji, and it was very nice of him to invite me and given an opportunity to to interact with all of you. I have been hearing about this institution in different ways. I will explain later. And I've been looking forward to visit also. And it so happened that I had some work at GEMS, that is Great Eastern Medical School. You all know about it. It's a good medical institution in this part of this country. So I came for some work. Then he came to know somehow. I don't know how it happened. He gave a ring that time. I said, okay, I'm coming on 24th, that is tomorrow. Then suddenly it got preponed. So I came and slightly we were able to meet. But I'm very sorry we are late. We could have come much earlier. But the program at GEMS, which was not in our hands, it went out of thing. But program went off well. So thank you very much, and my pleasure to see you all. And many young minds are here. You are all the future citizens and future experts of this country. So it's really, it is worthy. I mean, I feel worthy to be here today and interact with you. So you have seen some video clip. You might have seen some certain things like stealth technology, infrared technology, then the condition monitoring, so many such things. And also, we have delivered many items in my career to the Navy for use in their services, which has been used even recent Sindur war, those kind of. Though Navy did not participate as much active role like Air Force or Army, but Navy was the main backbone so that the ships cannot escape from that region or new ships cannot come to help them. So they were like a wall there. But they possessed all the weapons also. Some of the weapons developed NSTL, Visakhapatnam, for which I was the director for 7 8 years. So even those weapons were on board ready with a finger on the button when to press it. So it was such a situation. Suddenly the war was called out. It is good for the well-being of the welfare of the people. So that is how my journey started in DRDO. And I joined in 1973 at DRDL, and it was a laboratory working on missiles. Even today, DRDL at Hyderabad is the epicenter of the missile programs. around it RCI and ASL, Advanced Systems Laboratory, who develops Agni missile, all those area, that total complex. Now it is called Dr. Abdul Kalam Complex. Is there? So I started my career there. So after some years of working there, I was transferred to Visakhapatnam, NSTL. I don't know how many of you know about NSTL. NSTL stands for Naval Science and Technological Laboratory. Okay, we do work. It detects, it has to act, switch on, switch off, or switch on only for a few minutes, or whatever it is, or switch on few lights, not off it. Suppose you take a smart car. We are now talking about smart cars, driverless cars. So what do you think? There's Iiit, triple IT. What do you think? What a smart car should have to call it a smart? Same smart word applies there also. Anybody? Please come forward. Don't feel shy. Huh? Camera, sensor. No, sensor. What are the sensors? First you list. What are the sensors? One is camera. Radar is there. Lidar is there. Lidar or lidar. Light. What else? Any magnetic systems may be there. Accelerometer sensors are there. They're all sensors. What are the actuators? Accelerator is an actuator. Brake system is an actuator. So if these are all provided, we can convert a normal car into a smart car or a driverless car. Do you agree? So Elon Musk has done it. Who is Elon Musk? Do you know? He has made a first car into driverless car and is marketing it. Right. So now I'll ask you one simple question. There is a black cat. Black cat is there in a dark room. Very, 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 very dark room. Okay. It's a very big dark room, not small dark room, as big as this auditorium. Completely dark and no air. No light ray can penetrate. So dark, and cat is black. It is not opening its eyes. Otherwise, eyes will give some clue for you, because eyes are already can be seen. Suppose it's not opening the eyes, sleeping or disturbing you, it will move. So tell me, how can you detect it? How can you detect it? What are the various systems you have to detect a black cat in a dark room? Suppose there is a submarine in water, completely submarine in deep water. It is a black cat. I have to detect it. I have to fire a weapon, okay, to destroy it. So that is one situation. Similar in the deep sky, there is a very small aircraft flying like Tejas, which is as good as on the radar you can see as though it is a fly, small fly size. You have to detect it and hit it. So any one of you can say anything you got into your mind. How can you detect a black cat in a very dark room, large dark room as size as big as this? You have to go and find out. And what are the various systems you can go and I will give you anything you want in the laboratory. I will give you sonar. But when you make sonar, somehow sound, you make. So will this cat will remain there? Hmm? Radar. Okay, radar is one. But what is there to give the radar cross section? What is there in the body of the cat? It doesn't give radar cross section, then you can't find out. But there must be some radar cross section. Next is IR, infrared. So these are all very good options. I'm not. You're all right. So human body, if you take a IR camera and you see it passive, you will find a IR signature. Okay, IR signature. One is there is a blood is flowing all the round in the body like us. So there is a magnetic signature because blood is made of ferromaterial, ferrous material, iron. When iron is moving round and round 80 times per second or per minute, it goes. So magnetic field is there. So we can have a magnetometer. You go with a magnetometer, you can detect it. You can go with a radar, you can detect it. You can go with a sonar. Sonar doesn't work in air, but SODAR is there. SODAR is sound detection and ranging in air. So we can do, but we can go to high frequency, which cannot be heard by the cat, right? So which cannot be heard by the cat. If we can find such a sonar, sound producing source, then it will transmit. So reflection will come. You catch the echo. From that we can say there is something, right? What else? Cat has got electric field. Cat has got magnetic field. Cat has got infrared field. Cat has got a radar cross section. Cat has got a sonar cross section. So there are many things. So this is nothing but stealth technology. And I somewhere you have seen the word stealth. This is stealth. Stealth means secrecy. Like health, wealth, there is a stealth for scientists working in DRDO. They have to every time anything they design, they have to design that for from stealth angle. Suppose I have made Tejas, it is not enough. We have to make Tejas which cannot be detected by enemy. That means on the screen, somebody thinks normal aircraft, we can say it is aircraft is flying. But if Tejas is going, you will see even a smallest fly that is possible, that much mosquito kind you will see. So you will not detect it. So what do you make for that? How to make an aircraft stealthy? How to make a ship stealthy? Ship should not be heard, seen, visible. How to make a battle tank stealthy? Suppose we take a battle tank, put in a behind. There is a lot of trees and plants and greenery. You put there. From distance, you should not see it. That means you should give some kind of camouflage paint. Camouflage paint. From distance, you will see as though that means it is merging with the background. That is called camouflage. Camouflage is one kind of secrecy, making secrecy, secret. So there's a stealth technology. So one technology is camouflage. Other one is there are paints which can absorb, radar absorbing paints are there. You make some paints, you coat that on that thing. So radar signal, when you emit, it goes slowly absorbs. It doesn't give reflection. So that is also stealth technology. Okay. Then we have sonar signals also. That means some rubber kind of material, soft material is coated on the submarine. In the front of the submarine, if you see, we have a layers of soft coatings. But same time, they are very strong also. Because when you are going at speed, the flow should not carry them away. So they're very strong. They're made with a lot of embedded cavities inside. Because sound will go into a cavity and they die down. Like, anechoic chambers we have, no? It become anechoic material. So there is one near zero, radar cross reduced to zero. Then you have infrared. So infrared means there are two kind of infrared are there. Far infrared and near infrared. Okay. So near infrared means suppose something is hot, that radiates near infrared signature. Near means in the infrared spectrum, it is in the near band 5 to 8 microns wavelength. In the far infrared is 11 to 12 microns wavelength. That is, there no burning there, there no hot gas, but there is hot gas is there, or plate is hot. The metal structure of the ship is hot. So that gives far infrared signature. So I must have a camera which can pick up near infrared signature and far infrared signature. Then if I take a camera, I'll get it. Now you see, you take a ship. Ship has got a main engines for propulsion purpose to take the ship forward, right? So those engines has got an exhaust, because whatever, like we have even a small petrol car or petrol engine driven motor, no vehicles, you get an exhaust. So for a big ship, the exhaust will be huge one, and there will be 4 5 engines, 4 5 exhausts, and each exhaust will be emitting hot gas, right? It will be emitting very hot gas. So enemy aircraft who is having infrared missiles with him, he can fire, because there is hot gas. It is like laddu for that missile. Straight away it will come, go into that exhaust system and go into the engine, and it will fire, burst. Then the engine room will get damaged, fully flooded within no time. So we have to develop some protection system. So IRSS, infrared suppression devices. So that is one such system I have developed, which was patented, and it is there on 48 ships. It is there on 48 ships. Developed by me and my team, infrared suppression systems, which we have developed, so that when that system is put on the exhaust, okay, so the exhaust, when the enemy sees with this system, he doesn't feel there is a temperature is there, there's exhaust gas is coming out. That means one of the condition is there with this system and without this system. If you see the temperature, there should be a difference. They will allow a temperature difference of 1 degree compared to the surrounding temperature. If surrounding temperature is 40 degrees, my with exhaust it should be 41 degrees with my system. If my system is removed, it will maybe go to 50, 60 degrees. Then easily IR missile, infrared seeking missile. That means the missile will have IR infrared sensor. So that will keep on tracking and it will see a hot spot, like a red spot, it see, and straight away lands there. So with this system, infrared suppression system, it can't land. So that is what one of the many things I have done. One of that one. That's what somewhere the discussion as a IRSS system. What I did. What I did is there is exhaust gas going inside. You put a small bigger tube, then it will also suck some gas by Bernoulli's effect from air, fresh air. So this fresh air and this exhaust air will become this fresh air will land will we have to design such a way that the speed everything you control the velocity of the thing. A thin film will be standing inside all round the all around the my system, and that it gets stationary fluid film will come. Okay, that how you have to do a CFD analysis, find out such that the exhaust gas speed I know, the volume, how much I know, everything. From those calculations, from the outside temperature calculations, the day is the mid of the day, night, daytime, I know the temperatures, and you have to increase. Then that will come and stand as a film all round. So that portion of the tube will be always 1 degree higher than the ambient temperature. So the enemy cannot detect it. So when in stealth there is one principle. Suppose somebody says, "I'll make a radar. I mean, I'll make my aircraft zero zero signature body." Okay, that means that is not required. I give an example of a battle tank putting near the plants and all that, and we wanted to merge. But if I make it more contrast, then somebody will detect it. It's not just so same thing here also. When aircraft sees it, he should not see a black spot or a white spot. He should see a just gray spot that merging with the atmosphere. The principle of stealth is you. If I am standing there, you should not. I should get merged with the background. I should not be distinct. That much only we should do. We should not make it too much. Then it will become a contrast. You can see a black something here. So that is one of the importance of stealth technology I was talking to you. So in NSTL has a lot of good work on stealth. So we have stealth materials. We have, if radar is coming, for example, if there's a window like this, suppose a window is there. If it falls on a window, radar will give a very good signature. So what we do, we put a grid, metal grid. You have seen microwave cooker. You have seen the glass door. You have seen behind that what is there. But if there is, you will say, nice grid of the wires. It is nothing but microwave to reduce the microwaves that is coming out of that. So it is preventing microwaves to come out. Like that, same thing we do it in a ship also. Radar signal, some enemy sends a radar signal, it will go to the cavity, it will get a picture, good signal. Instead of giving that picture back, we put a grid there. So that's how so the same principle is in microwaves also. We don't want microwaves to come out, otherwise they're harmful. Microwaves are not hazardous like X-rays. X-rays are ionizing radiation, whereas microwaves are not ionizing radiation. They are good radiation. They don't harm us. But if it falls on the body, it harms. So microwave cookers, one can cook food, eat happily, because there are many doctors telling, excuse me, madam, that microwaves are bad for health. Don't cook. If somebody is having that impression, I'm telling you, and especially it is cancerous and like that. No, not at all. Microwaves are not harmful at all. Microwave cooking, when you are doing properly, should close the door. Otherwise, you may burn your hands. That's all. But they don't make the food poisonous or cancerous or anything. It's a wrong spread going on. You are reading some articles from KFRC on that also. So, so some of these things I was just trying to share my experience, which I have not brought any special presentation materials with you. Okay. So, you tell me in a human body, okay, what are the sensors, what are the actuators? Can anybody simply tell what is the sensor, what are the actuators? Are there sensor, are there actuators? Yeah. Okay. If you are also having same sensors, I'm also having same sensors. Sachin Tendulkar is also having same sensor with other great game, batting they're doing, they're all having same sensors, same. Then why some people are very good in hitting the ball? Why they're not? Somebody is not. Hmm. Yeah? Training. Okay, you take as amount of science. Sachin can train his son as much he wants. But why he is not equal to Sachin then? So what is the role of brain? Yes, brain is the okay. What is the role of brain? What are the sensors? Sensors are okay, eyes. Actuators are what? Hands. Because you're actually using the and also legs sometime movement. So actuators are hands, sensors are the eyes, and for somebody when he sees a ball coming, bowling at say 110 kilometers speed, it is coming, he can track from that point to till it comes near the bat. Whereas I track, I may be tracking at some point, I may lose it because I'm not so good sensors I'm having. That is one. Otherwise, actuator side. I know it is coming very near, but I will not able to take my hands exactly there. I may be taking little this side or little this side. But so this is done by this is a something called in the brain we are doing a fusion. So we have to sometimes use multiple sensors and we fuse them. Even in radar also, in signature no detection also, stealth also, we use multiple sensors. All sensors signatures we take, then we fuse them. That fusion is the brain part. So that may not be as good as everybody. Maybe Sachin or other, no, Rahul or those people, they have an excellent fusion inside happening. So they detect, they give signal to the actuator, there is hand, and hand takes the ball near the ball exactly. Ball is slightly going that side, it goes this side, this whatever it is, it happens. Right. So we also can become smart by training, by planning, by doing yoga, all those things, and by alertness, improve it, and maybe we can become our sensor system, our actuators is fused inside. Okay. Yeah, anybody has got any doubts, anything can raise and ask. How much time? Let's see. You have to tell me. 4:15. I can finish, no? So, so with this small introduction to defense technologies, which I gave explained to you, I gave small exposure. So I stopped my talk and I had to catch a flight at Vizag. I'm sorry I could not come early. Otherwise, we could have got more discussions, more points we could have discussed. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you for giving this opportunity and Madam Aruna for giving this. Thank you. Come here. Yeah, I'm not. Otherwise, take a mic. Otherwise, I cannot hear you. Yeah, come near. World. Ah, right. So he's asking, how is it we can what is the best way of using quantum technologies like quantum computing, quantum security, right? Like there are many branches of quantum. See, everywhere security is very important. In defense also is equally important. It is important to banking sector, economy, because security is very important. Similarly, for security also, for defense also, to maintain security codes inside that inside a missile, inside a torpedo, we have completely signals passing through. We should not. We have a software inside. We have so nobody can able to penetrate into that. So quantum security is very important. Present security and quantum security. What is the difference? There's a lot of difference. No, in quantum security today we can have point 4 digits 1 5. That is the accuracy with which one can give. Whereas in present normal normal right now computer bits you can't get that. In quantum security, quantum qubits you can get it. Right. That difference you must know. What is a quantum tech? What is a first of all quantum word? Okay. Quantum means in quantum physics or quantum technologies, quantum physics, there are 3 4 technologies, those 3 4 concepts are there. You must understand what is quantum. You must understand what is entanglement. You should understand what is superposition. This distinguishes from a normal thing. Okay, these are all. So in a quick bit, it is 0 and R1. It won't be 0 R1, which is a normal composition. That much I'm sure you would have taught somebody. So in this, you cannot until when you find it, the value is that much. But next fraction of a second, the value is different. That you do not know. So the prediction, that's why it's called superposition. Unless you predict one and you cannot predict the other one. Entanglement also is that. So I think it's a big subject. If we get another opportunity, I'll speak to you. Right? Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. And inspired it's really ask how one of the results and their applications. The material has done sensors and response. Here the farmer comes to be checked for the reason gathering for the response. The response is so in a million of fraction second, it has to respond, then only we will be able to meet the target or will not be able to save the able to save our process the target. So what say sensors are equally important, response, and then comes quantum computing and how quantum computing will be there integrated with the sensors and the responses. Those should be going because of that. Thank you, sir. Would you like to say one more I really was asking. These are all independent subjects. But all kind of different skills, definitely it is in the next it's in the process. Most of the things yeah.
So on and so forth. All these technologies, the defense research laboratories, etc., have been tremendously and terrifically using it. There's no iota of doubt on it, and we are very privileged to have Bhujanga Rao Garu today here. And such an illustrious career unequivocally is one of the best people, and we're all fortunate. Definitely, sir. Yes, sir.
So now, moving forward, we are delighted to welcome our next guest lecturer, Mr. Srinivas Pispati sir, advisor for AI delivery and architect, and a renowned quantum specialist. He will be taking us through a highly intriguing topic, quantum agentic AI in healthcare using Qiskit. We are sure this session will provide deep insights into the convergence of quantum computing and AI in transforming healthcare. Please join me in welcoming our guest lecturer, Mr. Srinivas Pispati sir.
C, C++, in server, Java server pages, right? Then so on and so forth. Then we are into AI right now. We are into Python programming, right? So the topic today or the festival that we are talking about, all the people, right? After 7 o'clock, you guys are more enthusiastic and interested to participate in the cultural events, right? I have seen a lot of crowd yesterday. Why there is no crowd here? You have to show the equal amount of interest in the technology. You should have a passion. You should have the killing instinct. I was talking to some of the guys in the morning. Who are those guys? Right? Did I talk sense? Right? I asked them what is software development life cycle? What is SDLC? They could not say. But I have given them an example how the human life goes, how the software life goes. Then they understood the point and they told it will remain in our brain for some years to go. So the examples that we provide for the artificial intelligence, see, I am not a researcher. I am not a professor. I am an industrialist. All my experience of 30 years is in the industry. I'm a practical guy. If something is not implementable, I will not use it in my company. The company doesn't spend money to waste the money. If you are talking about, some library in QSI Kit or whatever it is, and if we are not in a position because of the size of the company, because of the nature of the company, or whatever the business that they have, if they are not able to use that particular technology, is that useful or not? It's not useful, guys. All the companies runs on some business. How much they are investing, how much return they are getting. Any company in the world today, if you take it, right? So there are some research institutes where they spend a lot of money on bringing something in the future for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. The research that we are doing today probably will become a product tomorrow. Right? I don't belong that. I don't research anything. Right? I understand the client requirements. I design the software for them. I test the software for them using different tools and technologies. AI may be one of them. Your quantum computing will be one of them. If not today, I'll come back to that. What is the topic today? Today, the topic is the agentic AI using the quantum computing Qiskit methodology or the Qiskit framework. I call it a framework. Whether it is a software development kit or whatever IBM calls as SDK, but I call it as a framework. Right? So using the Qiskit, IBM's proprietary framework, how do I solve the problems in the healthcare domain? Right? Which agentic AI is not able to solve and it is taking as a challenge. Okay, you will come to know a lot of jargon in the medical technology here. Right? I'm a doctor. I can claim it, but I am not a doctor. I'm an IIT Kharagpur graduate, passed out 30 years back. Right? Over a period of time, when I started working in the healthcare domain, that's why all the people who are budding in the quantum computing today, when you are talking about AI or quantum computing, the word domain is very important for you. It may be banking, financial services, insurance, which they call BFS as an acronym there. They call retail, e-commerce applications, right? Healthcare, the tremendous potential today, what I envisage for the quantum computing. Of course, Qiskit comes as a part of the quantum computing. Somebody else has got a penny lane, somebody has got some other framework in Canada, Toronto. That is okay. The same IBM may be having something which is suitable for that particular country, for that particular healthcare. The US healthcare is different, Canadian healthcare, and the Canadian healthcare may be different from Indian healthcare. But all are driven by the compliance there. US calls it as an HIPAA compliance, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So what I wanted to tell you is that over 1 hour time, if you have got 4 hours time, I'll spend 4 hours with you. If you have got 2 hours time, I'll spend 2 hours with you. Right? But try to learn something what I'm trying to say here. The agentic AI. Everybody knows what is agentic AI? What is artificial intelligence? What is agentic AI? What is RAG? And how those problems are not able to get solved to the technology, and how do I bring in the quantum flavor inside using the Qiskit? That is the topic of the day. So this medical terminology, whatever I am talking about, is the domain. Anybody to succeed in the software industry should have a domain knowledge, should have the technical knowledge, should have the process knowledge, and should have the documentation skills, right? And you should have the team skills. If you are a top Python programmer who's a quantum engineer sitting in one corner, if you join Infosys or if you join, Cisco, or if you join GE, or if you join Microsoft, for example, that won't work. We have to work in one agile team where you have to interact with the product management group, you have to interact with your developers, you have to interact with the QA people, you have to interact with the client there as well. Please try to understand where I'm coming from. I'm holistically touching the subject here. The software development life cycle, the agile methodology, the DevOps, along with the domain which I'm talking about, the flavor here. Whatever the terminology that I use today, the electronic medical records EMR, the electronic health records EHR, the HIPAA compliances, right? The FHIR, this SOFA kind of assessments, the various diseases that we are talking about, the Alzheimer's diseases. How do you predict before it advances to the advanced stage? How do I use my quantum computing? There the quantum computing comes in picture. So we'll take 2-3 examples there. One of my flagship product where I developed the product is the risk-based testing approach. You can search my name in the Google, right? I'm not a researcher again. All the things that we are doing, that I have been doing, has come as a practice. How Agile has evolved, anybody can tell. It is not. There's no book on Agile, like a waterfall model or Pressman strong principles and practice of software engineering. Some people thought the client requirements are coming in the last minute. Some people thought we wanted to deliver incrementally. We wanted to have more control on the particular project or the product incrementally rather than waiting for testing to be done and delivered to the customer. So these practical problems in the practitioner's approach has created to come out with an Agile process. So the problems that the industry is facing have basically triggered the solutions where they are calling Agile or DevOps or whatever it is. Try to understand that. So the terminology that we use today, the domain plays a major role in the artificial intelligence. In quantum as well. If I don't know what problem I am trying to solve, what are the challenges that the current industry today is facing, there's no point in keeping 120 or 126 qubit processor, the qubit quantum computer somewhere else, right? What am I going to do with that terrific hardware which is sitting there, which is an expensive proposition? Is it a weather forecasting problem? Is it a healthcare problem? So in healthcare problems, what are the healthcare problems? First of all, you have to say that is called the story. So if you are having the hackathon tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I don't want to leave anybody if somebody is not able to document what they are trying to solve. I wanted the acceptance criteria from them, saying that this is a story. I am going to solve the amino acids in the protein folding problem so that the drug discovery time comes down by 50%. How the simulation takes place. Then what happens? Once you articulate that problem in terms of a story, then you go into the design. How do you architect a solution? You know what is the problem you are going to solve. In between the problem statement, which is a protein folding or a Qiskit finance problem, in between the problem to actually coding and testing and delivery, the delivery comes. There is a in between, there is a design, there is a unit testing, and there is something known as the overall system testing. How do I do the system testing for a quantum circuit that I am designing using quantum terra or whatever it is? You are getting the libraries, the rich set of libraries which is available to you in the framework, which is called Qiskit. Test automation framework is one. Developer framework is one. Right? Java framework is one. React is a framework. So all the frameworks will you provide. What is a framework? It provides you some set of rich libraries where you can import those libraries. It will allow you to process some data through some tools. It will give you the standards, the methodologies, the processes, the checklist and the guidelines, and the recovery mechanism and the exception handling that we can do if any error comes, etc. So this is called a framework, which is a set of holistic integration of everything. So the Qiskit is being used today for some of the problems where the agentic AI. So artificial intelligence is one field where we are talking about. Domain is one field. Artificial intelligence, agentic AI, and quantum and the Qiskit are the technology aspects of it to me. But I go to a doctor and I go to a cancer research specialist in the Philadelphia area and I ask her, right, how do you use actually quantum QA/OA in basically analyzing and coming out with optimizing the molecule simulations in a cancer drug research? So these are all pertinent to the healthcare domain. Healthcare is a vast field where the quantum has really penetrated and will try to penetrate further and further because of the electronic medical records, which is sitting 10,000, 10 million records. Electronic health records. In US, all these medical records are highly confidential in nature. the data encryptions, the confidentiality, the integrity, the availability, the security aspect of it. Everything is totally, is a secured way. They have to store somewhere and they have to use in somewhere. Nothing more, nothing less. Right? Whatever we need, we get it. So we have got 4-5 layers here, which has got the agentic layer. Now, when it comes to agentic AI, all my things will be done anonymously by defining certain roles for the agents. I'll show you one example here in my case studies where exactly we have used it. It's nothing theory or nothing available in Google, what is that we call GPTs, etc. It's all practical things I'll show you. There's a risk-based testing, right? Suppose, let us say, over a period of time, for example, Microsoft has started around 25 years back. They have got a product called Microsoft Windows 1.1, or let us say they have a product 1.1. Now, in 2025, their versions have gone tremendously. So their testing aspect of that application also, the test case size has gone up. It may be 20 million, it may be 30 million. Even if you use the automation tools, can you execute all the 20,000 test cases? So you have to apply some kind of element of risk. What is the risk prone? If two patients are sitting inside a doctor's office, somebody is having a terrific pain in his heart, and somebody is having a leg pain, and he's looking at his YouTube. Whom the preference doctor will give now? Heart patient, right? You can't even say that. Can you loudly say that it is a heart problem, right? What I'm telling you again and again, people are in the 4th year, final year, etc., etc. Unless you know the domain, you know the artificial intelligence, quantum is not that useful. Quantum and AI goes hand in glove with that. Whatever the AI today is able to solve all the problems. The deployments, the large language models, right? The natural language processes, the retrieval and augment generation, retrieval plus agentic AI is the solution of the day. But because of some optimization issues, because of some subtle linear separation cannot be done between there's a firewall where we can say this is an Alzheimer's disease or this is not an Alzheimer's disease. He's an LD patient, he's not an LD patient, he's showing the symptoms. So that kind of optimization, that kind of linear separation has to be done using by our precision and accuracy. That is nothing but the quantum comes into picture because of its inherent features. We call superposition, we call entanglement, you got the quantum algorithms, you design a circuit, right? You basically optimize it using transpilers. But again, the SDLC is sitting behind you guys. You are using the term quantum circuits. Whereas a person who is developing a Java application or React application, you uses a term called front end or the back end. But everybody has to do the testing. I was talking to Janani in the morning, in the afternoon. So I asked her, how do you actually, IBM provides a facility to do the quantum circuit testing at the unit level as well as at the overall holistic level. Has anybody asked that question to her? She has discussed the topic, right? You should come out as as an individual. First of all, most important thing for you is that even if you understand or not understand, if you have got a doubt, you have to ask. Don't sit, don't let the doubt be with you only. So the domain is very important, which we are talking about today. Whatever the jargon that I use, right? That electronic medical records, HIPAA compliances, that sequential, right? Acute assessment, organ failure assessment, they call. So we also talk about. I'll not touch more than theory now. I'll touch 2-3 case studies and I'll explain the case study in terms of the theory and where the Qiskit is used and where the quantum is used and where the AI is used. So I'm just giving an example here, agentic AI. So let us say I deployed some agents in my hospital, right? The hospital agents will monitor, let us say all the people here, they monitor all our vitals. The vitals may be blood pressure, it may be heart rate, right? It may be respiratory rate, it may be GCC or a chroma levels, or it may be, what you call the saturation rate. What is the saturation rate? Everybody was here in 1919, 20, right? We know those 2 years, right? No, IRS. What was the era there? Why 2019 and 2020 or 2021 rather? What's significant for the entire universe, not only for India, but for New York or for Mexico or UK or whatever it is? COVID. So, what is the first step the doctors used to do in COVID times? They used to measure your oxygen levels, right? That is called the saturation levels. So, these are called the vitals. So, when you go to an hospital, the doctors will measure the vitals, and if this fellow is good at the vitals, heart rate is fantastic, right? He's able to walk, he's able to talk, right? And his pulse rate is good, his respiratory is good, right? And his saturation levels are fine. Those vitals are actually managed through our agentic AI. So I deploy an agent which keeps on without disturbing anybody, where the attendance is not necessary for those agents to monitor. That happens there through an agentic AI. So that is one example of agent AI. So I define the role for an agent there, saying that keep on monitoring these vitals and keep on reporting to me. I am the doctor sitting in my doctor's office. Anything that happens in the vitals, some patients, so I don't need the vitals for you all guys. When some patient goes to an hospital, that means he goes with a problem. So the basic fundamental thing that we measure is the vitals. So you deploy an agent which is called the agent. The agentic AI, without hindrance from anybody, without intervention from anybody, it keeps on monitoring these vitals. That is called an agentic AI. In software testing, how many people actually understand the concept of software testing? Final year guys who got the jobs. Final year guys who got the jobs or who are attending the interviews. Anybody here? No one is here. So this is what I am talking about is all practical examples. That's not theory. Huh? Right. So when you are talking about the software testing here, right? You in the AI paradigm today, right? So whatever the test cases manually people were writing, whatever the automated scripts that they were using the Selenium WebDriver, etc. So the entire paradigm of software testing has been changed, where we are creating an agentic AI to develop the test cases, which is called the test case generator. And there's an agent which I am creating where the test cases are executed unattended. See the beauty of it. You guys have to die for these statements that I am giving today. The agents are created for a test case generator. The agents are created for a test case executioner. The agents are created for bug logging, and all are independently operating. And I have defined the roles for them. This agent has to do this. This agent has to. They interact in such a seamless way. The test case generation is taking automatically, and the test case execution is done automatically whenever new test cases are written. And the bug tracking, whenever a test case expected result and the actual result are not matching, where there is a bug in the software, that bug is being logged in the bug tracking system automatically. What is the bug tracking system that you know? The people who are selected for Infosys. Have you heard about Jira? So these are the practical things. Research won't help us who are joining the industry, please. You have to come on the ground reality, saying that what is happening in the industry, how the agentic AI is actually deployed, how the AI is actually deployed applications, how the agentic AI is used, and how now when come to the actual problem here. The Qiskit quantum computing, how do you use that? We'll take a couple of examples. One is the risk-based testing. We'll take that. What exactly we are trying to do that, right? And what we are going to do for predicting the Alzheimer's disease in the healthcare domain. Some diseases in the body, they will not show symptoms unless they reach the advanced stage. Sometimes cancer as well. So this Alzheimer's disease, it throws some symptoms which are actually not these actual symptoms that the people will feel. Oh, normal. So let's say my legs are swelling. That is, I don't go for a diabetes test. I say it's normal only. I've been sitting here for 4 hours now. So that's why the swelling has come. Let us say after 4 days, the swelling continues even though I'm walking. then it triggers I have to go for a diabetes test. Right? So these kind of symptoms, let us say when I go to doctor after 4 days, where so far I'm a fantastic guy, I'm a very healthy guy, but when I go to doctor, let's say my fasting blood sugar shows 300, for example. The 300, did it come all the way, all of a sudden? The normal. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
అది లేదని చెప్పాను.
Okay, sir. Full అయిపోయింది.
ఇప్పుడు టైం ఎంత అయింది?
Sir.
4:50. Yes. Okay. Fine. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. Another 5 minutes I'll take. Ask him to wait for another 5 minutes. He's from Spain or he's from Calcutta or something. So let him wait because we have been struggling here. Right. So we will wind up. That is the thing that we got it. Right. So when the flow goes like this, right, I don't want to stop really. Right. So, but nevertheless, that is fine. So please consult me, whoever wanted to talk to me on all these things. So when you talk about the AI, when you talk about the creation of the agents, when you talk about the agentic AI and how the Alzheimer's disease, right, in the symptoms will not show up. So how do I basically understand what are the normal symptoms and how do I use my optimized algorithm like QA/OA, which is borrowed from the Qiskit, right? Some libraries I am borrowing. That's why I called you the framework. The framework is being used to get the libraries, to get the checklist, to get the guidelines, to get everything, to get the recovery mechanism, to get the exception handling, so on and so forth. So you imagine that framework. You are taking the advantage. You are not writing a QSIT kit framework, right? Somebody else has written. IBM is doing that. It is IBM's responsibility to maintain that quiz kit. Tomorrow I will identify one problem which cannot be solved by quiz kit. So I will raise that problem to IBM to Austin Labs, right? And they have to solve that problem. That happens, right? It is not solving every problem in the life. If you talk about finance, Qiskit finance, do you think it is solving the algorithmic trading problems? We have to make some customization. We have to make some fine tuning everywhere and there. I am not going to solve my change my business because Qiskit is asking me that. Do I change my business? No, right? So for you, the business is important. The user stories are very important. How do you design these applications? How do you document is very important. So I'll run some 2-3 programs, right? There's a PPT there. Why it's not coming? Nishant? No. Okay. So let us quickly spend time on this. Right? Anybody has got any doubts, please meet me after that. By integrating the quantum mechanics based computations with goal driven autonomous AI agents. So my agents are doing autonomously jobs for me. That is the beauty of artificial intelligence. The agentic AI, retrieval augmented generation, the artificial intelligence, the LLM indexes, all those things are tools are available to me for AI. Right? So AI agents, healthcare systems can tackle previously intractable challenges in real time. So this quantum computing we are talking about, how do I integrate? So we have to democratize the quantum computing. Quantum computing is not in the labs. It is not in IBM labs in Bangalore alone. How do I democratize and bring the quantum computing, the Qiskit, the other libraries to Canada, to US, to India, to Calcutta, to Bangalore, to Germany? How do I democratize that? Because I am trying to solve a problem like banking problem, the financial services problem, the healthcare problem. Here the topic is agentic AIs using the healthcare problems. The fusion allows unprecedented advances in diagnostics, disease identification and diagnostics. Again, once you identify a disease for a particular patient, what is the various paths it will take, right? Let us say you are maintaining his vitals. You are maintaining his blood pressure. Is he a diabetic? Yes or no? Is he having smoking habits? Is he having any lung problem previously? So all these variables and parameters actually complicate the issue. So you have to land in something which is the optimization. If this value is this, if this value is not there, if this value is less than 5, if this value. So you keep on going all the permutations and combinations, etc. So there the quantum computing comes very, very handy, right? So you have to have a classical computing plus the quantum computing mix, which they call the hybrid. That is the solution right now. Don't try to replace the entire thing with the quantum computing, which is they call as boiling the ocean. Nobody will do that. Suppose I sit in front of a Vizag beach and say I wanted to boil the complete the Bay of Bengal. That is in industry they use the term boiling the ocean. They will say first do whatever is possible. That is called the agile incremental approach. So you also understand and think about how the SDLC in the industry is managed. The people who are joining the Infosys also, you may not be getting all the training that you need, right? When you are going for RGU, KT, Srikakulam, you should be equipped with all these terminologies so that when you join the Infosys, you will not be a novice there. You will try to talk the same language as the people there who are the project managers or who are talking to you. They will not have time to teach you everything. They will say they will be given a project and you will be asked to do immediately. And you struggle through GPT or Google, whatever it is. You try to get the information. Again, if you use GPT, I can find out whether you actually use GPT to write the code or not. That also they will find out. So you should be very, very meticulous. You should be tactful in your professional career. So now we talk about the Qiskit plus the AI in healthcare. That's what is the topic. So what is the role of an agentic AI in healthcare? They autonomously, continuously adapt to new data and evolving conditions. That's what we also taught. Beyond hospitals, agentic AI is also embedded in wearables. So, for example, somebody gives me to monitor my blood pressure 24 hours a day. So it keeps on giving some signals to the doctor who is sitting sometime, some long distance, and it will keeps on giving the report to him. At 7 o'clock, his BP is that. 7:10, it is BP is there. He is driving, so BP is going up. So he will get a trend. He will get some waveform, etc., so that he will get the information on those things. So the quantum computing in healthcare has got very, very good potential compared to any other domain. You know domain now, right? You are going to solve the problems for the domain, right? No? Yes? You know e-commerce domain? Every day, left and right, you buy Swiggy, right? Left and right, you buy Amazon, right? That is called the e-commerce. You go and buy some medicines, right, in Apollo pharmacy or something. Or you go to a hospital, for example. They will measure all the BPs, etc. They will admit you as a patient there. They will ask you to come, to see the doctor tomorrow. Doctor will perform certain tests there. So the scheduling happens there. The registration of the patient happens there. And once you are discharged, you have to pay some money to them, which is called the billing. All these things are the part of the healthcare system. And it is highly regulated industry. I don't know about India, but US, it is regulated by HIPAA compliance, which is Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. All that information that is going from somebody in terms of his information that goes, my age or my previous history of the diseases, right? My social security number, so on and so forth, are highly confidential in nature. They're all encrypted. Data confidentiality, data integrity, and data availability is very, very important. Okay. So this is the combined power of quantum agentic AI. Now we talked about AI, we talked about agents, we talked about the quantum computing, where the Qiskit comes into handy when you are not able to solve the challenges. So as you talked about there will be, this is the architecture generally, as I told you, the story is what problem you are going to solve, and this is the design and the architecture that you are going to design. Okay. At this point of time, try to keep that, you need to follow that cycle. The use cases in healthcare, disease identification and personal diagnostics, predictability of the diseases in the early stages. Let us say in the COVID, let us say in Vijayawada, for example, there are 5,000 patients and there are 20 ICU beds and there are only 2 ventilators. How do I optimize to give the 2 ventilators to 50-bed ICU people? First of all, how do I give the 5,000 people, 10,000 people? Every second the number is increasing. So there the quantum computing comes very hand, where we talked about the optimization algorithm. Quantum approximate optimizers algorithm, etc. We use the VQAs, we use the VQs, quantum agent solvers, right? quantumized, all the libraries that are provided by the great god Qiskit is a framework. So, for example, the framework has been designed for quantum computing. If you talk about AI frameworks, yes, we have got AI frameworks, right? Which is called the transformer technology frameworks. So each technology is coming out with certain frameworks, which allows us to write the Python programs or any other programs where you call those and import those libraries where you are not reinventing the wheel. Try to understand these statements. You need not write a library to use, Qiskit Finance. I wanted to understand the stock portfolio for the next 20 years, for example, for my stock GE, for example, I have that. How do I manage that? Right? How do I optimize my portfolio? Let us say I've got 5 stocks, which I've bought 5 years back. I wanted to optimize my portfolio. So at any point of time, I will not get into a loss. So this is called so quantum is the solution there. When quantum is the solution, what framework I'll be using? Qiskit. Obviously, that is the largest framework that is going to be used. And in healthcare, again, I'm telling and telling why I selected this use case. Healthcare is that the potential that I've seen in the United States as well as in Canada for the quantum computing for the Qiskit. IBM has got a tremendous lab of quantum. They have got quantum computers in Toronto, right? Of course, throughout the US, they have got the quantum computer. In India, we don't have any quantum computer. Canada has got 3-4 places like University of Waterloo and University of Toronto. They've got 120 qubit systems, etc. So they're all much advanced there because they actually use that. Suppose you have got the system now, right now, right? If you don't have actual infrastructure that is there with you, how can you actually do that? So that's why the quantums that are coming here, we can utilize them, by the time there and utilize them. Okay, the data challenge and the HIPAA is EHR. EHR is electronic health records. HIPAA is again the compliance framework. Whatever you do with respect to the healthcare has to follow that compliance. That means data has to be encrypted if it is sensitive data, right? So the agents that we talk about, the layers, is the agentic AI layer and the Qiskit layer, and it comes to quantum machine learning, and it goes to visualization. These are the 4 layers that we talk about. I'm not talking about the Qiskit architecture itself, which has got the terras, the AERs, the visualization, so on and so forth. That is with respect to internal to Qiskit. Don't get confused with that. We are trying to solve an application using Qiskit. Qiskit internal architecture is these 4. Whereas my application agentic AI Qiskit, right? Right, I'm going to use agentic AI and the quantum layer that I'm going to talk, which is the Qiskit libraries, and I'm going to visualize all my results in such a way that I will visualize, and I will compare with the quantum results with the agentic AI results and see what is the benefit and the accuracy and the precision that I'm going to get. So this is the thing that I'm talking about, Qiskit architecture, Terra AI, etc. And this is one program. So let us run one program here where it describes the early stages of the Alzheimer's disease. This is the Python program which we have written. Don't worry about what kind of the feature maps that you are using. So it uses all the Qiskit libraries and all. The program has been executed. What is trying to solve, we'll see after the execution, and we'll analyze the results, right? So what I am trying to solve is that I'm going to find out from this program, which is written in Python. Qiskit has got a rich interface with the Python. So this program has been selected with the Python, where we have written the program in Python to detect early stages of the Alzheimer's disease by various ways. We selected 120 samples and we executed the scripts, right? We selected four features. So what happens is, on the beginning, you put some kind of approach for a particular patient. It throws some gate is called the electro and unless the interface is at by EEG will change the data, right? In terms of the coherence, in terms of reducing complexity, how the brain is functioning. Usually reducing its responsive, the responses are better, which means nature, the real concept. That is the basis for the data that is coming up. So I'm putting there, if the EEG getting analyzed, I'm going to basically do that. Right? So if we execute this program, So you have to reduce the size here. Oh, okay, I'll wind up in 5 minutes time. You tell them that we are running late.
Oh, yes, sir, we mentioned.
Yeah, you have to run this program. Here it is a run button. Okay, I'm running this program. Okay, this early prediction of the Alzheimer's disease, right? So I'm training some sets. I've taken some samples there. And what is that I have taken? Where is the mic? So it is doing something. See the Pythonic interface of the Qiskit library that I'm going to use, the SDK, right? For solving an agentic AI problem to predict the Alzheimer's disease by giving certain inputs. By how do I get the data? Through EEG, electroencephalogram or whatever it is, right? It gets the data by putting some electrodes inside the brain of a particular patient and getting the data in terms of certain waves, interpreting the data and executing these programs with a trained set and a tested data set, with selecting the 120 samples of the data. 80% is trained and 20% is tested, whatever it is that I am going to select, and is going to give me who is the person, right? After giving this graph or whatever it is giving, right? Who is the person is having early symptoms, who is not having. So it is finished with the code 0, right? Where is the screen, right? So it finished with the code 0, right? It is successfully executed. And if we analyze this output here, okay, so we use the fidelity quantum kernel per SVC in accuracy is equal to 0.661. The total quantum time is 48.11, and the total sanity Bell state count, which is 0, 0 and 1, 1 in the entangled state, which is having 125 or 131, right? This is the count which is called the Bell count. So we are talking about the plot here, where the plot is got generated here. Okay, so this PNG file has been generated by Python program. The yellow dots are who are having the healthy data. We are not able to find the early Alzheimer's disease symptoms in them. Whereas the purple, if you see, they are having the clearly saying that the activity of the brain, right? So that's why when you are talking about the protein folding, the misfolding of the proteins will also lead to some kind of Alzheimer's disease. So Alzheimer's disease early symptoms are being shown and drawn as a graph in terms of some PNG graphs in the purple notation. So the color coding is also important. And if you say the entanglement or whatever you call it, the intersection between the purple and the yellow, that are not the linearly separable. So how do the quantum comes into picture for me, where I need to identify which are not able to be challenged, which are not able to be solved by the agentic AI kind of a thing, where I use the QAOA or VQA, which is using the variational quantum agent solvers, which is coming from my Qiskit library or the SDK, which I am using the quantum computing. That is the area where generally the hospitals in the US and the people use that. Imagine these various things that are happening there, because easy throws on throwing the data at each of those, every minute or every second. It keeps on changing. The entropy or the coherence or the signal variation that is coming. Oh, first I will see, okay, I'll see him and say, okay, that is fine. Oh, I know him. After 1 second, I will say, oh, the brain will say, let us say I'm an Alzheimer's patient. I don't know who is that guy. So the brain signal variation, these are the things which are called the features, where we are going to draw a graph, which we are going to represent that. What does it all mean? From Qiskit clinical intelligence, I am going to derive. The AI intelligence, artificial intelligence, we are talking about the agentic AI, that is gone now. We have used the quantum Qiskit libraries, we use the QAE, right? VQE, variational quantum agent solvers. And we brought the quantum picture and say that I wanted to use the quantum computing and the Qiskit library to solve this kind of a problem. Okay, so then it solved the problem. It has given me this is the thing, this is the thing. Again, it has given some statistics here where you can analyze that. So this is the output that it has given, where you can analyze these results. Okay, the total quantum time, so on and so forth. Each of those lines in that output that the Python program has generated for me has got significance. Please try to understand. What is the quantum time? So I have got an explanation for the results where we can discuss later, because the time permits. Somebody is waiting from somewhere, not in India, so we have to wind up. There are a couple of other case studies which I wanted to show, which are not there. One is very, very important for me, at least, where this particular thing we are going to market as a product in the Canadian market. This quantum based, using the Qiskit, right? Risk based testing, right? That I am going to explain to you later, either part 2 or part 3, whenever the time permits, then we'll discuss later. So with that, I am going to wind up this. And there are a lot of challenges in this field. You guys have to understand there's no future outlook. The future outlook is the agentic AI has to be tremendously improved. The medical advisors, the doctors, the agents, the agentic itself has got problems. The future outlook, we have to be very careful in bringing the quantum flavor. We are talking about the agentic AI. Is it really working fantastic in all the 2000 hospitals? Yes or no? If some system or some process or some tool or some methodology is not able to work in 80% of the cases, 80-20 rule they call, Pareto rule, then it is not worth trying it out. So if we talk about the COVID drug that is coming up in 2020-21, right? Suppose it worked only for 5 patients. It has not worked for everybody. All those 2 drugs, first dose, second dose, etc. Nobody will take it. So it has undergone a lot of clinical trials in 9 months itself, because of India. Because of the clinical trials and the tremendous technology that they have used, including the AI by Dr. Reddy's or biological engineering, or whoever has generated this particular drug, right? They're able to reduce the time, the business benefit. That's why when you talk about the agile process there, user story, what is the benefit that you are going to get? By using the quantum Qiskit methodology and the things, I am going to reduce my protein folding and the clinical discovery time by 40%. So that is the benefit. You are going to solve that problem. Instead of 100 days, I am going to reduce it to 60 days. These are the numbers which are called the tangible numbers, which is called the matrix. So this is a whole story, people. This is a whole story of the software engineering, the agile methodology, the processes, the tools, technologies. The Qiskit is just a point, not 1% of it. Before that, lot of things happen. After that, lot of things happen. Does it give any matrix? Whereas my AI gives. the F1 recall score, BLU score, or ROGU score, right? The accuracy, the precision. I can measure all these things. So quantum also gives. So you have to measure and compare with it. So when you are making a career, let us have some more discussion. How do I basically help you guys to get a good job and see that you do very well in the job? That is more important. Getting a job is not the easiest, it's not a difficult thing. But once you are there in the job, how do I penetrate with my existing team? If you say that I am a Qiskit guru, then join a research lab. Don't join what do you call the value labs. How do I use my Qiskit knowledge to solve the problems where the customer is has given a project to them? అర్థమైందా లేదా? అర్థమైందా లేదా? అదేదో సినిమాలో ఉన్నాం కదా, అర్థమైందా లేదని. సో ఇట్స్ ఎ ఓషన్, రైట్? What we are trying to solve is the problems. Problems won't get solved so easily. They will give a lot of impediments to us. So the patience is the most important thing. So when you are making a career in software, when you are making a career in quantum computing, or whatever it is, the technology, try to understand and document everything in your life. Documentation, everybody, people living in the industry with 10 years, 15 years also, they don't even write the unit test cases. So always, whenever I join, I'm an advisor to two companies. One is Toronto-based company, another is, there's one more company in Vijayawada, right? There's one more company in Bangalore. So they always keep on asking me, how do I do the unit testing? You cut the cancer in the initial stages. That's what I will tell them. If you don't cut it in the initial stages, the unit testing is not done. The bug will flow in the life cycle and it will be found in the customer's premises, which is too expensive for you. If it is $1 there, if you find a defect there in the requirements or the at the unit level or the decoding level or the requirements level, when you can't find that, it is $250 you have to pay. That is 250 times. So with that, I am going to end up that note. Any doubts, please get back to me. I want you to have the passion in whatever you do. Today we are all talking about Qiskit Festival. We are talking about quantum computing, which is at 10,000 feet high, right? So that's why I started with artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence actually socialized with us. It is penetrated, people are using, companies have got the center of excellence for artificial intelligence, so on and so forth. So I started with AI, I started with agentic AI, I started with how to use the quantum computing, I started with Qiskit. So gradually, then these are the Python programs that have been written, and these are the outputs that I have gotten, and you have to interpret the results in such a way to prove that quantum Qiskit is basically a beneficial to me to use for this kind of application. As I told you, that ICU beds, etc. I have got 5 ventilators, I have got 5,000 patients, and I have got 50 ICU beds. Kisko dene ka hai? To whom I have to give? So I have to have a scientific basis to measure the SOFA, which is the severe organ failure assessment, which is based on the vitals, which is based on my blood levels, so on and so forth. They keep on continuously monitoring and pumping to me through some devices, electronic health devices or whatever it is. And the data is getting varied every second, etc. Then it will measure what is my SOFA there. Whoever is having the highest critical, medium, etc., the 250 critical people will be given an ICU bed there. That is again a Python program which is actually implemented. There's no iota of doubt it. Right? Another thing which we have already implemented, but we are going to add a quantum flavor is our product, which is called the risk-based testing. We are not marketing that product in the Indian market. We are marketing in the Toronto market, because there they know what is quantum computing. They know what is quantum processor. They have the 120-bit quantum processor in the University of Waterloo. They have got the quantum computers there. So if you go and penetrate and socialize with those customers who actually requires the quantum, I don't require a Mercedes Benz to come to to go to my office, which is just 500 meters away, right? I can walk or I can come by bike. So what is the necessary? So those people have got the necessity there. So go and socialize with them. So we are going to risk-based testing approach, AI-based. It's a beautiful product. And that's why I asked whoever is getting into the career of software testing, they should have the software testing background. Then they should know what is risk-based testing. Then they should know how is the AI used. Then they should know how the quantum has to be used. అలా సీక్వెన్షియల్గా ఇంక్రిమెంటల్గా వెళ్ళాలన్నమాట. ठीक है ना? सबको समझ गया? I'm talking 3 languages. If you want, I can talk in Marathi also, so that you people understand and don't feel the laziness of reciprocating what I talk. That's more important, right? So I should have talked more and more and more, but I'm winding up because somebody from IBM is waiting there. I got delayed, right? So it's a cascading effect where that fellow also is getting delayed, but he's sitting in somewhere in Spain or somewhere. Okay, thank you guys very much. Thank you very much, and thanks for your time, and have an excellent career in this thing, right? So please get into some good companies. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for your insightful words, sir. As we are full on into the day 3 of the Qiskit Fall Fest 2025 here at RGUKT Srikakulam, it's been an extraordinary journey so far. A confluence of curiosity, intellect, and innovation. And today, we continue that voyage into one of the most fascinating frontiers of our time, quantum machine learning. Today, we are deeply honored to have with us, joining us virtually from Spain, a scholar, a visionary, and one of Europe's leading voices in quantum computing, Dr. Elias Fernandez Combero Alvarez. Dr. Fernandez Combero is a full professor in computer science and artificial intelligence at the University of Oviedo, Spain. His academic journey has been nothing short of exceptional, a national award winning mathematician and computer scientist who secured both the Premier Premio Nacional and the Segundo Premio Nacional de Fin de Correro, recognizing him among the very best in his nation. With a PhD in mathematics and a profound background in computability theory, machine learning, and quantum optimization, he has pioneered research that bridges classical intelligence with the quantum paradigm. He currently serves as Spain's representative on the advisory board of the CERN Quantum Technology Initiative and also contributes to She Quantum and Q Spain, shaping the landscape of quantum education and innovation across Europe. His contributions have illuminated new paths in quantum algorithms, optimization problems, and its applications, and quantum machine learning, inspiring both researchers and learners worldwide. Today, he will take us on a journey through the fascinating world of quantum machine learning and its applications, exploring how quantum principles are transforming the way we perceive computation, pattern recognition, and intelligent systems. From the theoretical underpinnings to the practical breakthroughs, this session promises to expand our imagination of what's possible when machine learning meets the quantum realm. So, without any further ado, let's extend our heartfelt gratitude and a virtual round of applause to welcome Dr. Elias Fernandez Combaro Alvarez, professor, researcher, and quantum visionary, as he leads us into today's guest lecture on quantum machine learning and applications. It's truly an honor to have you with us today, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you very much for the very, very nice introduction. And thank you, of course, to the organizers for this invitation to talk about my research in quantum machine learning. Okay, so I've prepared a few slides. So I'm now going to share my screen and hopefully you will be able to see. Okay, so let me try and make this full screen. Okay, this should be better now. And today I want to talk a little bit about what is machine learning when it meets quantum computing, and also some of the applications that we have been developing here at my research group at the University of Oviedo, together with people from researchers from CERN in Geneva, Switzerland, also with researchers from the University of Cambridge and the universities of ETH Zurich and EPFL in Lausanne. So first of all, I would like to clarify what I mean by quantum machine learning, because if you read the literature, you will find like different definitions of what people understands by quantum machine learning. So in my classification of quantum machine learning, you have two different axes depending on whether you use quantum or classical data, and whether you use a quantum or classical machine to process this data. So the only meaningful situation in which I talk about quantum machine learning is when we use a properly quantum device to analyze data, which is the region that I have highlighted in green on the right top corner of this diagram. And I will be talking about the situation in which we analyze classical data with quantum devices. Even in this restricted definition of what quantum machine learning is, you can find like different research directions in the literature. The first of which started about 10, maybe 12 years ago, maybe a little bit more, and involves the use of foundational quantum computing techniques, like, for instance, the quantum Fourier transform, or amplitude amplification, which, as you know, is the technique that we use in Grover's algorithm, to accelerate, to speed up the training of classical models. Okay, so you have a list of different quantum versions of classical machine learning algorithms that you can accelerate with the use of quantum techniques. Okay. The problem with this approach is that it usually needs quantum fault tolerance. You need quantum computers that can implement quantum error correction in order to implement and run these algorithms. And as you know, nowadays we are still far away from being able to run algorithms, quantum algorithms that require fault-tolerant quantum computing. We are now approaching the era in which we can start to create a few logical qubits from physical qubits and implement quantum error correction to maintain, to keep the coherence of these states. But we are still not there, okay? Even with the kind of machine that we have today, which, as you know, has been called the noisy intermediate scale quantum device, okay? A device that is not very big, and it still has some problems with the implementation of gates. The gates are noisy, measurements are also noisy, and you have interference from the environment. Even with this kind of device, we can try and solve practical problems to see if we can get some kind of advantage from using these machines. I'm sure that you all heard about yesterday's news published by Google's research team, in which they have shown that for a practical problem in the study of certain molecules, they have been able to apply current quantum computers to solve a practical problem. So this is the kind of algorithm I'm interested in, but not in quantum chemistry, but in machine learning, okay? And why would we like to do that? Why would we be interested in applying quantum computing to learn from data? Well, of course, the first motivation is that we have these new devices, these new quantum computers, and we want to know what are the applications. What are the applications in particular in data science, in the analysis of big collections of data. But also, we have um, this possibility of using the kind of quantum circuit that we can run today to create new algorithms, new models that maybe can obtain some advantage over what is possible with just classical computing. So the main tool that we use in quantum machine learning in this NISQ era is what we call the variational circuit. So variational circuits are regular um, quantum circuits in which we have some rotation gates with some free parameters that we use for mainly two different operations. For instance, in this quantum circuit here in my slide, the first layer of rotation gates, which are energy physics as accelerators, particle accelerators. This is important because in order to use quantum machine learning effectively, we need to overcome different challenges. Of course, you all know about the problems with hardware size, the problems with noise, the problems with limited access to hardware computers, to quantum computers, because, well, they are few and far between. There are not so many quantum computers nowadays available. But to me, from an algorithmic point of view, what is interesting is to develop new architectures that can better solve different problems in machine learning. Okay, this is something that the community is actively researching nowadays, but we don't have still all the knowledge and all the theory that we have in classical machine learning. In classical machine learning, for instance, you have convolutional neural networks, LSTMs, transformers, a number of different machine learning architectures that are very, very good at solving particular problems. For instance, convolutional neural networks are very good when dealing with images, or transformers are very good when dealing with textual data. Okay, so we would like to develop this kind of architecture for the particular case in which we use quantum neural networks. So the first problem in which we have tried to apply this is a problem in the classification of collision events in the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider at CERN in Geneva. Okay, so what you see here is what is called a Feynman diagram of a collision of, in this case, two gluons. And these two gluons, when they collide, they might create a Higgs boson. The Higgs boson is here depicted in red, but it can also be the case that instead of the Higgs boson, another gluon is created. So this is something that is completely random. Okay, you know that in quantum physics, events are probabilistic. You cannot control whether the Higgs boson will be produced or not, even with the same setting of your experiment. So at CERN, researchers want to collect data from those situations, those collisions in which the Higgs boson was produced. So we want to separate those cases in which we have a Higgs boson from those cases in which we only have a gluon. Okay? The problem with this classification is that the Higgs boson and the gluon are very short-lived particles. You cannot observe them directly. They decay into other particles, and you only observe the result of those particles. Okay, so in both the Higgs case and the gluon case, you obtain exactly the same types of particles. So this is not something that you can use to differentiate between one and the other, to distinguish one case from the other. But these particles may have different momenta, different directions, different angles, and this is what we can use to classify these events into producing a Higgs boson or not. Okay, this is a problem that at CERN has been approached for many years with classical neural networks and with boosted decision trees. Okay, and they obtain some good results with these methods, but they require a lot of data. They require millions and millions of events. Okay, so we would like to try with quantum neural networks to see if we can achieve similar results, but with fewer data. Okay, in order to do this, we need first to reduce, of course, the training data set, but we also need to reduce the number of variables that we use, because as you see in the slide, we have 67 variables, okay? And we need to use 1 qubit to input each of these variables. So we cannot classify this, or when we started doing this, the biggest quantum computer was like 15 qubits or something like that. So this was something that we could not do. So the first thing that we did was to reduce the size of the data set, both in number of instances and in number of attributes. And we applied different techniques, okay? So autoencoders, some techniques that are called data re-uploading to reuse qubits to encode more data, and so on. And with these techniques, we use quantum support vector machines, which are one of the most popular models of quantum machine learning, and also quantum neural networks or variational quantum classifiers. And what we obtained was somehow below what is possible with deep neural networks, but it was similar to other classical machine learning models like random forest or logistic regression, things like that, okay? So we wanted to go a little bit further and try to see if we could match the performance of deep neural networks. And what we tried was to define a new architecture in which this reduction of the dimensionality of the data was not independent from the training. So what we decided to do was to create a hybrid quantum classical neural network in which the first part is a classical neural network, and then we have a quantum circuit, a variational quantum circuit that performs the classification. So the first part, these blue circles here, are classical neurons that reduce the dimension of the input data. And then here we have our quantum circuit, and we train both together. And with this technique, we were able to almost match the performance of deep neural networks, but only with, let me see if I can point at this, only with 2,000 instances instead of millions of instances, okay? So this was one of our first research projects in quantum machine learning. If you want to know more about our results, I invite you to check this paper in which we describe all the experiments and the models and all that. Another interesting project that we've been involved with, together with people from Cambridge, the University of Cambridge and EPFL at Lausanne and CERN, is in the use of quantum versions of generative adversarial networks. Generative adversarial networks are not so popular today as they were a few years ago, because now we have diffusion models to create images very, very rapidly and with very good performance. But a few years ago, this was one of the main techniques to create new data, for instance, new images from a collection of data when you try to learn how to produce new examples, new instances following the same distribution. I don't know if you are familiar with the architecture of generative adversarial networks, but in these networks, we have a generator here in red and a discriminator in blue. These are, in the classical case, these are just neural networks, classical neural networks, and you train the generator to try to fool the discriminator. The discriminator needs to distinguish between real images and images generated by the generator, okay? And we train both alternatively, one epoch of the generator, then one epoch of the discriminator, until they reach a point in which the discriminator can no longer distinguish what are the real images and what are the generated images. Okay, with this you can learn, you can create images of people, for instance, that are something that had been used in the classical case at CERN to generate data from or similar to the kind of images that you get in the calorimeter detectors at the LHC, at the particle accelerator. Okay, as you know, running experiments in the LHC is very costly, so you cannot do it all the time. So you want methods that can generate data that are similar to the ones that you will obtain from the experiment, to calibrate your algorithms and to develop new theories and to learn patterns and things like that. So this was something that was done with classical GANs at CERN, and then inspired by different algorithms in the literature in which different versions of quantum generative adversarial networks were introduced, we tried to generate new images, but now with quantum neural networks, with a version of quantum generative adversarial networks. This kind of result was obtained before I joined the team in 2020 and was quite successful to generate images similar to real ones, but only when you have exactly one image. Okay, so you were always generating the same image. And this was directly inspired by these seminal papers in which you learn just one distribution. So the next challenge was to generate different images, to learn to generate different images, but all of them following the real distribution. Okay, so what we did in this case was to introduce a new architecture that we call the dual PQC model, the dual parameterized quantum circuit GAN model, in which instead of having just one quantum generator, in these articles, typically they substitute the generator from a classical network to a quantum network. What we did was to substitute this quantum generator with two different, so to say, quantum generators working in tandem. Okay, so with this, we were able to measure the results of the first circuit and then feed these results into the quantum circuit, and this quantum circuit will generate different images. Okay, and we keep the classical discriminator. These models are very, very difficult to train because even in the classical case, training generative adversarial networks is very difficult. So we had to perform a number of reductions, and we had to reduce the images to only 2 by 2 pixels. Okay, so in total 4 pixels, which are very, very small images, but we were able to train these models both with simulators and with actual quantum computers. Okay, and the results that we obtain, if you know about generative adversarial networks, for instance, if you see the image in the top, in the middle of the top row, you will see that we reach this equilibrium between the generator and the discriminator. Okay, so even if this is just a toy model, we were able to show that this can successfully train a generator that can then be used to generate new data. Okay, again, I invite you to check all the details in this paper if you are interested, and I will also I would also like to show you or to tell you about my favorite project in our collaboration with CERN, which has to do with quantum reinforcement learning. So in classical reinforcement learning, you have an environment, okay, that you want to control or in which you want to solve some kind of task, and you have an agent. And then the agent can observe the environment and get information about the state of the environment. And then the agent needs to take actions in order to solve a problem. For instance, one situation in which you have this kind of environment agent interaction is when you have a robot that needs to navigate through a maze, for instance. So the robot observes its environment and decides to move to the left or to the right or go straight away, and needs to find the exit of the maze. Okay, and that is the goal of the task. So in this kind of situation, you want the agent to be able to solve the tasks even in situations that have not been shown to the agent before. So you want to learn a policy that lets you to decide what are the best actions given the state of the environment. Okay, a situation at CERN in which we can apply this kind of technique is when we have the beams in the accelerator, the particle beams in the accelerator. As you know, the accelerator is a big circular tour that has a radius of 27 kilometers. So it's a very, very big accelerator. And you need to steer the particles to go all around the circle, all around the accelerator. And then you have two different beams going in different directions. And at certain points, they collide. Okay. And then you collect all the data for instance, for classification of events, or with the calorimeters that I showed before. Okay. So one crucial task is to correctly steer the particles so they only collide at the points in which you are expecting them to collide and to collect it. Okay. You do this with magnets that deflect the particles, and they steer the particles all along the accelerator. Okay. So the first situation in which we try to use quantum techniques to learn these policies on how to deflect, how to steer, how to apply the magnetic fields to steer the particles was a very simple one that I'm showing in this slide, in which we had just one magnet and we want to steer the particles to the target. And depending on how well we align the particles with the target, we obtain a bigger or smaller reward. Okay. This kind of situation, this kind of problem can be solved with classical neural networks, in which you encode the state, which is the angle at which you find the particle beam in your detector. You encode this state and you feed this to a classical neural network, and then you are expecting to learn what is the expected reward of moving up, which will be the first number, or moving down the particle beam. Okay, so you interact with the beam, you interact with the magnet, and you learn which options lead you to better rewards or to worse rewards. Okay, so this is a classical technique. What we did, following some proposals for much simpler problems in the literature, was to substitute this with a quantum Boltzmann machine, which is similar to a quantum neural network, but it's easier to train, for instance, on quantum annealers. Okay, so what we do is we encode the state and the action, and then we estimate the reward that we are expecting to see from this action in this state by the free energy of this quantum Boltzmann machine. And when we did this, we obtained spectacular results, spectacular results. So we trained this in two different ways, with what is called experience replay and without experience replay. Experience replay is that instead of interacting with the environment again and again and again, you interact just a few times, but then you make your agent learn from this experience several times. You repeat, you replay this experience, okay? So on the left-hand side figure, we see the results when we have no experience replay. And then blue is the quantum Boltzmann machine, red is a classical neural network. We obtain 100% optimality. This is, we solve the problem 100% of the times with just over 100 iterations, okay? Whereas with the classical neural network, we need over 10,000. So this is much more than we need in the quantum case. Even when we introduce experience replay, the quantum machine is faster. It trains with fewer steps than the classical neural network. Okay, and if we compare the sizes of the different networks, the number of parameters that we have in the quantum case is much smaller than the number of parameters that you need in the classical case. Okay, so this was very, very satisfying, but it was a very simple problem. So after this, we tackled a much more difficult problem in which we have many more magnets and many more actuators and many more detectors. So if I recall correctly, we have like 16 different points at which we can deflect the beam, and it's a much more difficult problem. And again, we tried to solve this with quantum Boltzmann machines. The problem is that now we cannot encode the action just as move the beam up or move it down. We need a continuous variable. And in order to introduce continuous variables here, what we did was to take inspiration from the classical literature, in which you have what is called the actor-critic architecture, that works in a similar way to the generative adversarial networks. So you have an actor that is the one that proposes the actions, and a critic that learns what is the reward of that action. If you take a closer look, you will see that this structure of the critic is very similar to the structure of our quantum Boltzmann machine. So it was quite straightforward to replace the critic with a quantum Boltzmann machine and train a classical neural network with the help of a quantum critic. This is also very convenient in practice because in the deployment of this model, then you don't need a quantum computer. You only need a quantum computer to train the model, to use this quantum critic. But then once that you have trained the classical network, you can use it in a classical machine. And in fact, this is something that we have tried in real time at the LHC accelerator, okay? And it was successful. In fact, our results were not so spectacular as the ones in the one-dimensional case, but we still obtain an advantage of about 30% reduction in the number of training steps. So from about 70 in the classical case to around 50 in the quantum case. Okay, so, well, this was kind of satisfactory, and it shows that, well, maybe for reinforcement learning tasks, quantum computers can help in reducing the training time. All of these results are collected in this recent paper. It was published last year. And if you are interested, of course, I invite you to take a look. And finally, I would like to mention that in addition to my research in quantum computing, I am very, very involved in quantum computing education. I think it's a crucial task nowadays because, well, we need more people who know about quantum computing and are able to apply quantum techniques in different domains. So together with my colleague, Samuel González Castillo, who was also one of the researchers in the event classification problem that I mentioned in the first place, I have published 2 different books. In 2023, A Practical Guide to Quantum Machine Learning and Quantum Optimization. And recently, just a couple of months ago, A Practical Guide to Quantum Computing. These are books that are targeted to people who want to learn how to use quantum computing practically. So we have, of course, all the mathematical background that you need in order to understand what you are doing when you are working with a quantum computer, but also a lot of code and practical code that you can run on quantum computers and on simulators to learn to program these algorithms. In the first one, we focus on NISQ algorithms, so quantum neural networks, quantum support vector machines, quantum optimization, whereas in the new one, we focus on algorithms like Grover's algorithm or Shor's algorithm, okay? So, well, we kind of cover both directions in the quantum computing algorithms in these books. And, well, that's all I wanted to tell you about. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have questions, I will be very happy to try and answer them. So thank you very much. I don't know if you are asking any questions because I think you are muted, so I cannot hear you. I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. I think you are muted.
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Sir, as you said, it is trained and work properly in the one-dimensional data. My question is, does it shown results in a good way when it is given 2D and 3D data also?
Sorry, I could not hear the last part of the question. May you repeat it again, please?
Sir, as you said, the quantum bolt-on machine is trained with 1D data. What's my question is, does it work properly on 2D and 3D data too?
Yeah, well, I mean, this extension that we did with the actor-critic architecture is what allows us to work in higher dimensions. Okay, so the first model only works with one dimension, but then we extended this, and we in principle, if we have big quantum computers or quantum computers that are big enough, we can work with any dimension.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Seems like that's all with the question and answer session. And thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much to Dr. Elias Fernandez Combaro Alvarez for the truly insightful and intellectual investigatory section, actually. You have taken us on a captivating journey throughout the NISC era, variational quantum machine learning, and the intricate challenges of quantum machine learning, illustrating concepts throughout the Higgs boson classification problem with its 67 variables and comparisons between BDTs, DNNs, and their quantum counterparts. Your discussion on dimensionality reduction, QSVMs, and VQCs, and also the hybrid architectures showcased how classical and quantum paradigms can beautifully converge. The explanation of GANs from their classical form in high energy physics to quantum GANs and the dual PQC model, along with insights into quantum reinforcement learning, QNets, and quantum Boltzmann machines was truly an eye-opening thing to hear. And on behalf of all the Rgukt Srikakulam University and the Qiskit Fall Fest 2025 team, I extend our heartfelt gratitude for sharing your expertise, your clarity, and your passion. Sir, it's been an absolute honor having you with us today. And thank you once again for inspiring us to think beyond the classical and venture into the quantum field. Everyone, let's give a warm virtual round of applause for Dr. Elias Fernandez Combaro Alvarez.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.